Hey there, fellas. This is Miss History coming to you from outside this gooey beehive. This time we chose to focus on Dido of Carthage for the next Women of History tidbit. So let's go get some honey. Ow, ow, ow! Stupid selfish bees, how much honey do you need? The story of Dido, Queen of Carthage, is, as most legends are, filled with intrigue and deception. These stories were retold through the words of Roman historians, and later through the esteemed poet Virgil in his epic, the Aeneid. Dido's tale begins with her life as daughter of King Matin of Tyre. The kingdom of Tyre was part of the ancient Phoenician civilization, geographically located in what is today modern Lebanon. Alyssa was her Phoenician name, but she was later given the name Dido, meaning wanderer. Dido was also the name of a Phoenician deity named Astarte. Before his death, sometime around 800 BC, King Matin decided his children could rule together, instead of choosing one heir to rule the throne. Alyssa was then named joint ruler with her brother, Pygmalion. Alyssa's rule was not widely accepted by the people. Despite her father's intentions for her to share the throne with her brother, Pygmalion was recognized as the king of Tyre, and Alyssa was left with little authority. Alyssa was married to her uncle, Sychaeus, high priest of Melkart, and a man of authority and riches like that of a king. Pygmalion, a lover of gold and intrigue, was eager to take the authority and fortune from Sychaeus, so naturally Pygmalion had assassinated Sychaeus in the temple, and kept his evil deed a secret from his sister for a very long time. He would lie about his death consistently. Meanwhile, the people of Tyre were pressing for a single sovereign. Pygmalion, the man who caused discord within the royal family, was the people's choice for king. One night, as Alyssa was in a restless sleep, the ghost of Sychaeus, her late husband, revealed to her that her own brother had assassinated him. He then told her where to find his hidden riches and treasures, and then issued a warning to flee from Tyre, as Pygmalion would surely kill her next. Alyssa, knowing how dangerous Tyre was with her brother still alive, took the treasure and secretly sailed from Tyre, accompanied by the military commanders Bitias and Barcas, and some noble Tyrians who were dissatisfied with Pygmalion's rule. The people didn't quite know where they were going yet, but they supported Alyssa. Her followers began to call her Dido, meaning wanderer, after traveling many miles away from their previous home. Dido's first stopping point was Kishon on Cyprus, where she picked up a priest of Astarte after promising him that he and his descendants could be the high priests at their new colony. A group of 80 young women were taken along as well, and the group sailed for North Africa, where they founded their new city. Dido and her Tyrian entourage, including her priests and temple maidens of Astarte, crossed the length of the Mediterranean Sea in several ships and settled the shores of what is today modern Tunisia. Her expedition was at a standstill, however, while she negotiated with the local inhabitants on purchasing a suitable piece of land for her new city. The natives weren't too happy about the newcomers, but Dido was able to make a deal with their king Japan. She promised him a fair amount of money and rent for many years for as much land as she could mark out with a bull's skin. The resourceful Dido had the hide cut into very fine strips, and with these encircled a hill, which in time became the city's citadel, and known as Byrsa Hill, after the Greek word for oxhide. The king thought he was getting the better end of the deal, but he soon noticed that the woman he was dealing with was smarter than he had expected. This purchase contained trickery, but the king did not go back on his word. Instead, he applauded Dido's cunning and well-thought-out plan. On that site, Alyssa and her colonial entourage founded a new city in 814 BC.
They called it Carthage, or Carthage, which comes from two Phoenician words that mean new land. In memory of their Tyrrhenian origin, the people of Carthage paid an annual tribute to the temple of Melkart of Tyre in Phoenicia. After witnessing Dido's remarkable mathematical talents and doing business with her over the years, King Japan was so impressed that he had then asked her to marry him. She refused, so instead of declaring war on Carthage, he had a huge university built, hoping to find another young lady with similar talents. According to the Aeneid, the Trojan prince Aeneas met Dido on his way from Troy to Lebanon. Aeneas was blown off course in a storm, but was directed by Venus to land at Carthage. Dido had been resisting a long line of suitors ever since her husband was murdered back in Phoenicia, but when she was struck by Cupid's arrow at the command of Venus, she fell in love with the hero. Unfortunately, the romance was short-lived. Aeneas left his love and continued the voyage which would later fulfill his destiny as Rome's founder. When the Trojan resisted Dido's call to stay and sails away, it is then that the queen throws herself on a funeral pyre, but not before she pronounces a terrible curse on the Trojans, thus explaining the inevitability of the brutal Punic Wars between Carthage and Rome.
Almost lost my cool there.
Archaeological finds of Greek pottery and the remains of housing structures dating to the mid-8th century BCE suggest the presence of a large settlement. This confirms at least the possibility of a traditional founding date. Phoenician cities had already founded colonies around the Mediterranean, and so Carthage was by no means the first colony, but in a relatively short time, it would become the most important and go on to found its own colonies and even eclipse Phoenicia as the most powerful trading center of the time. Carthage's prosperity was not based only on its location for trade routes, but it also benefited from an excellent harbor and was surrounded by fertile agricultural land. The 5th century BCE, in honor of the founder of Carthage, Dido, minted coins were made. Some have identified the female head with Phrygian cap seen on many of them. This was to represent Dido. Some Roman writers suggested that Dido was deified, but there is no archaeological evidence from the Carthaginians themselves that this happened. The earliest information of Carthage appears in the work of Ptolemus of Taormina, a Greek historian, whose original texts did not survive, but are referred to by later authors. Ptolemus was the first to present the foundation of Carthage as occurring in either 814 or 813 BCE. Another source on the historical Alyssa is Josephus, the 1st century CE historian who quotes Menandros of Ephesus's list of 10th through the 9th century BCE tyrant kings. The list also mentions Alyssa, sister of Pygmalion, who founded Carthage. Now the details of her life are a bit sketchy and confusing. However, she made a significant impact on the Roman Empire. Dido's story was engaging enough to become focus for many later writers, including the Romans Ovid and Tertullian, and medieval writers Petrarch and Chaucer. Later, she became the title character in Purcell's opera Dido and Aeneas, and Virgil's Les Troyens. A female leader was exceptionally rare in ancient reality and mythology, and so Dido has captured the imagination for millenniums to come. Ouch! Leave me be! I crack myself up. Thanks for watching. I'm Miss History signing off from that very sticky situation.